Welcome back to Wednesday's Mastery of the Middle with PJ and C. This is a continuation conversation today from what I spoke about last week. And this is a very interesting subject because we are due as a team for Grit and King to actually participate in this exact activity. So it was part of the reason why I wanted to talk about it because selfishly, it helps me get prepared for the next time we do it as a team. But this is something that we're going to talk about in the context of how to do it. But I also wanted to say why. So, one of the things I was thinking about while I was getting ready to do this morning was why is it important for us to plan out leadership? And what I mean by that is when we are building our company and we're building our vision, we're very much go through that good morning, that whole system of building and being a student and being humble and in that mindset of receiving information. But as we start to grow in our company, we have to step in to the role of CEO, or say you take on CFO or whatever role it may be, and you fill in the other positions. So you go from a place of more humility and receiving to having to be in the position of stepping in to that role of commanding, leading, um, really shaping the narrative and the vision. And when we go through this transition, it's easy to stay in that humble position and forget that we need to revert and step up and lead. There's so many different philosophies, but leadership and finding your leadership style, and that could be a whole nother conversation. However, what we're talking about is more of the shift that we must make when we are growing a company and scaling and leading. And I will tell you, like we've talked about before, there's these moments that you stop and you think, oh, hold on, I need to decide this, or this needs to be from my perspective. But then there's times that it should be from a team perspective. But we set the tone and the pace. And this is something that is a very important conversation as we decide to scale a company. So let's talk about it a little bit more. Why is it important? Well, the speed of the leader is the speed of the group. We've all heard that. And not only that, but if we had a choice between going to work for, say, two different companies in corporate or in a setting where we were receiving a paycheck, wouldn't we, as a potential employee, also look for the healthiest culture attached to a company? I think I would, especially as I've gotten a little older. And I never could see this happening for myself personally, but if I decided that I wanted to um, devote the next part of my career to being in a corporate setting, the culture would be incredibly important to me. And this is based on my experience. My experience has been I've worked for very large corporations that I was literally a number and a name on a badge, and I passed new people every single day, and there was never a quiet moment in the building 24 hours a day. And then I've also worked for family run companies where I've worked for one family member and two or three other family members support the owner of that company. So I've gone from both extremes, and the two that I have in mind for this example, looking back, I would not work for them at this point in my career. And I have that attitude towards it because the family run business, although the family was incredibly kind and very good to me, there was a lot of unhealthy dynamics, a lot within the family that bled over into the company. There were conversations that happened inside of the workspace that were inappropriate because they were revolving around family problems, not that I should have never been a part of or heard or tried to run away from, really, as they were happening. On the other hand, when I worked for bigger corporations, commuted downtown Chicago, very big buildings, and like I said, that I was just a number with a badge, the people that I was working with and also reported to, there was no training system. So I was in trouble for not completing a report, for example, but nobody had trained me on it. And I was just put at a desk and told to figure it out. And so there's a lot of those things that make up unhealthy cultures. And this has been something that's been on my mind a lot lately. And part of it is because I've been working with a mentor who specializes in creating healthy cultures. And this is something, like I said, that I have thought about since day one when I started building Grit and King myself. And I am very proud of the progress we have made. For example, what we do as a team is we have, for a very long time, had a weekly accountability meeting. We discuss any topics that the team is dealing with at the time, whether it be with subcontractors or within internal, and things that we're all trying to learn, or if somebody else on the team has more experience or also connections that may fulfill something better than we can ourselves, we discuss it. The other thing we always talk about is our wins for the week and also our lesson that we've learned. That's something I think is very important as well. So when we do these weekly meetings, we are privileged to have someone that is basically our corporate personal Tony Robbins. And he has spoke to us on many occasions, and I can tell you, he has the ability to see the potential that you don't even see in yourself yet and make it come to life. It's incredible. And Lee can speak to that as well. Lee has been a part of those meetings. But one of the things that he gave us as a gift last year was doing an unstoppable statement. Now, I'm not going to sit and read mine. I'm sorry. I apologize. I just can't. It's too much. And I'll probably sit here and cry. But what I will tell you is I actually took that a step further and I wrote out an I'm unstoppable statement for myself and also for our corporation. Again, these are the kind of activities that they'll never be posted. They will never be used in content or on a website or anything like that. But it does define our corporate culture and also help us lead together. It goes from being an I conversation to being a we conversation. This is our vision. This is our mission. This is our impact on the world. This is how we are going to create this result. And I was so incredibly impressed when that shift happened. And I do credit that to our corporate culture. So our unstoppable statement for our company, I wrote out 3 rules that we will live by daily. And it is interesting because I hadn't read these in a couple of weeks or months, I should say, a couple months. So it was interesting reading them again. And I went, man, this is good stuff. That we will, 1, live every day to the max, that we do not let opportunities slip by, that we're present and we make the most of every day within the company and within our personal lives. Things like that. That it says that we will always work to impact each other, that it isn't always just about the success. It's about the success of the team and those around you. A great leader inspires, motivates, and achieves greatness through togetherness. And then the third one I wrote down is that we embrace imperfection. Perfectionism can hold us back from taking risks and making progress. As leaders, it is okay to make mistakes, but it's also okay to learn from them and grow from them. Embracing imperfection and using it as an opportunity to improve creates better leadership. So those are just very quickly overview. Like I said, I'm just skimming it and kind of paraphrasing. But the point of it is that reading something like this that was written by your team together can create unity and create movement in itself. And I think that, in my personal opinion, the art of the, how do I put this? The mid game, like in the NFL, the break that where the coach is really in the hot seat to say the right thing, or in a soccer game or any particular sport. It's always the burden is, yes, I, of course, halftime, but I was trying to think of the better way that I wanted to say that. Um, the burden is on the coach, is my point. That's where I was going with that, Lee. That they are the one that carries the emotions to turn things around, and then to put everybody on the right path, to create energy, to create movement towards the goal of winning. And I think about that often, that even though somebody that's the CEO, the leader, the business owner, the entrepreneur, the visionary, the architect, whatever title you may have, the responsibility is to make sure everybody is working together to create that movement, to be able to create a goal through practice and through um, training and all of those things in order to reach the goal. So, if we are to do this for our team, we're no different than that coach at halftime. Now, same principle. And again, it takes a lot of prep work to even get to that game. And we are the exact same when we come to our team. So I think it's a very important step to think about. Again, not all of us may be there to the point of having a team yet. That's okay. You will. You absolutely will, if this is your vision and you see it through. So this needs to be something you're thinking about even before you're to the point of having people work with you. Because if you're trying to create the system when you've already hired, or when you collaborate or things like that, then it's left to, well, who's figured it out? And that is never going to be a successful system. So, this is something I encourage everyone to think about, especially as you're planning out your business and your structure and everything. Start jotting down notes about what do you want your culture to look like. Write out that manifesto. Write out, like I said, an unstoppable statement. Write them all out. And again, you don't ever have to use them publicly, but think about what that would do for a team. Walking into a meeting and you sitting down and saying, I have something to share with you. These are things that I have put up as our ethics and our morals as a team in order to reach our goal. A great example for us is that we all believe in our greater path, that we only work and collaborate with companies that are out to make an impact on the world as we are, that their financial gain is not their first motive. Their motive must be world impact. So that makes it very easy for us to know that when we partner with a company or we bring on students, things of that nature, that it's always aligned within our idea of impact. Now, it's not a control mechanism, it's an actual way for us to be able to further our impact and also to create that desire to create impact in students too. We use it in that way too, because we want to be, again, in leadership, even in that situation. If we're coaching or we have students or we are mentoring or whatever it may be, it shouldn't necessarily always be about, again, reaching the goal of money. What about impact? What about helping others see that their company and their business can do both? So that's where all of this is kind of encompassing into for this conversation. I did talk to Lee about this yesterday, and interestingly enough, I had some motivation dropped into my lap over the weekend. I took my youngest son to see the movie about Bob Marley. And Nesto and I took him. And it was only after I talked to my older son, who's very conservative, and I asked him if the movie was appropriate for my younger son. He said, you know what, they really don't show much. That there's a kiss, but that's about it. So We said, okay. So we took him to see it. And he did say afterwards that he's like, I wish that movie had subtitles. I only understood like half of it. I think that's what he said to Nesto. Something about that. But they both said we couldn't quite understand every word. However, it was such a great movie. And I completely agree. It was a very emotional movie in a great way. And honestly, it gave me a lot more context into the struggles that his family went through and the nation was going through that motivated him to make the music that he made. So it was incredible. But as he was starting to record the second album, somebody on the team was not understanding the vision. I apologize. I can't remember the entire context of the scene. Please watch it. It's a great movie. I don't want to ruin it anyways. But what I really loved about it was he stopped and he said to this person, he's like, you don't understand that the music is the vehicle for the message. And that hit me, and I've repeated it so many times in the last couple of days, that to me is exactly what we're trying to do with our businesses. If we're trying to create impact, our company is the vehicle to be able to impact the right person and persons that we are called to serve. And that path is individual for each of us. Everyone knows in this group, and I'll repeat it until I've fulfilled my contract of I am here to impact and help other single mothers become entrepreneurs. That idea of my company being the vehicle to reach those right people, persons, moms, is very, very dear to my heart. And I know it's my personal mission. And anytime I've thought about, is that still my mission? I always go back to nobody else can fulfill that but me because I'm the one that's walked the path. Now, there are single mothers that are entrepreneurs out there. I'm very privileged to be around a few of them, not a lot of them, but a few of them. And they're all serious contenders in their industries. And I would put money on them any day over anybody else because we're hard workers and we're very determined. But my point is there isn't enough yet. So how could I give up on that group if that task hasn't been fulfilled? So having the right motive helps me stay on task. Having our team, same thing, having a team on task, motivated, will help all of us reach that bigger goal together for the impact we're supposed to make for our companies, individually, everything. So that's why it's so important. So I hope this was helpful. Again, this was just a little personal, as it's something we do inside of our team. And I will tell you, I encourage everybody to do it for themselves, write an I'm unstoppable statement, and also for their business. More, like I said, I took it in the way of I wanted to create a couple of bylaws, basically, that we would live by. And this is going to evolve. Like I said, we are due for it again. We did it last year. We're going to do it again. But now I think it is going to be something that's a part of our quarterly sessions. And when we sit down to reassess where we're at and the quarter and see what we want to accomplish still. So this is very important to me. And I hope it makes a difference for anyone that was able to participate or catch this in the replay. So I hope that was helpful. Today is another beautiful day. I'm so sorry to anybody that's still in the Midwest or in the northern part of the U.S. It's beautiful, and I really appreciate it today. So I actually was in the middle of my workout this morning, and I cut it short in order to do this. So that's why I'm in a ponytail and glasses this morning. And so I'm going to finish up my workout still this morning and do my meditation before I get started with a couple of my meetings for the day. You're very welcome, Lee. And I will tell you, though, that I'm definitely shifting and expanding myself. I want to share this with everyone because it's important that my rules of engagement with my personal branding is changing in a great way. It's expanding, it's evolving a bit, it's refining at the moment. There's a refinement process going on. And my need to build authority for my modern resume is expanding too. And all of that is possible when we have a team that works together. We're making some shifts internally. I don't think that will ever stop. And we are refining our process too. And it's a beautiful moment and it's a great time. I'm also working, like I said, with some coaches, and it has been wonderful to help me evaluate my headspace to get to the next level, because that's what we always need to do. And again, there is never one way. That's one thing I want to stress about this, is that I don't personally believe that there's ever going to be only one way to get anything done. So again, same thing with the what we just spoke about today. You might hear it completely different from the next person, and you got to figure out which one works for you. But the good news is there is so much shared advice out there and willing participants, and it's beautiful because again, 20 years ago when I started my entrepreneurial journey, there wasn't any of this. It was incredibly lonely. Oh my goodness. It was an uphill battle. So I encourage everyone to get involved, network through this group. If you're new, definitely say hello. I'm available for networking as well, because I do believe that networking is the foundation to creating a relationship, which can lead to who knows what in the future. So it's never a bad idea, even if you're not completely ready with your company or launched completely. Start networking, start talking about what your expertise is in, and also where you want to go with it. It's a great way to do it. I know we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but I just want to encourage everyone to do that. And we will be back Friday morning with a live, which a roundtable live with Alethea and myself. I do not know if we have a guest. I'll have to ask her about that. And then we also had our new podcast episode released yesterday. So that is definitely something that if you haven't gotten a chance to view it, please do. It's a little bit more about Great and King. Lee got to interview me in a different way. So it was really kind of fun and different. So it's definitely was something that I really enjoyed participating in, and I hope everybody gets a chance to watch it and enjoy it as well. I thank everybody for their time. We will be back on Friday, and definitely enjoy yourself to read, meditate, balance out. I've been balancing out a little bit differently this week, and I've been pushing myself a bit to do a little bit more working out. I was just going back to the gym again after an episode of not feeling too well, and I just came out of that phase where I was just kind of struggling to survive, and I was doing it. Now I'm setting some goals that I can hit and make some progress. So I encourage everybody to set goals in every area of your life, for sure. You know, like even the littlest things, whether it be walk an extra 10 minutes or do an extra set of weightlifting, whatever it may be, just challenge yourself. So that is my last thing I wanted to add today. Lee, you are very welcome. And yes, it definitely does. That's wonderful advice, Lee. So everybody have an absolute wonderful day. We'll be back on Friday. Lee will be back next Monday with a live. And I hope everybody absolutely has an absolute beautiful rest of their week. And I'll see you soon. Have a great day.